An Arizona election official is now coming clean a little bit about the clownish audit being run by the so-called cyber ninjas. So apparently they're still trying to find the fraud in Arizona. Good luck to them. Now, look, for me, we all know this thing that's been a complete and utter shit show. I mean, you know, when it comes to like, oh, they're hiding the bamboo. They get the bamboo ballots. That's why China is coming in, and you know, that's how China stole the election for the Communist Party. No, it's a clown show. But some people in Arizona have been actually taking it very seriously, until now, at least. Because one person, many thought was actually in charge of this, is saying now he is concerned about the legitimacy, not of the election, but of the recount audit efforts. Now, this happened in an interview with a conservative talk show host on Monday. So this is former Arizona Secretary of State, Ken Bennett. So Ken Bennett, this guy definitely was on board for this audit. And it's like, oh yeah, we're going to find the fraud. You know, we think that there's massive fraud. We're going to find it. I'm in charge of this. Let's do this, right? So now he is the GOP-led state Senate's liaison to the ballot counting process led by Cyber Ninjas. Now he has come out this week and said, yeah, I'm close to stepping down. He said, quote, I cannot be part of a process that I am kept out of. Critical aspects along the way that make the audit legitimate and have integrity when we produce the final report. And unfortunately, there have been too many of those situations. So he added, I'm the liaison. And I think when people hear that word, they think, okay, he's in charge. But that's not been the case. So basically he's saying, a lot of problems here. One of the problems, I'm literally being locked out. So Cyber Ninjas, according to reports, has been barred from the building where employees and volunteers are counting ballots. And he's been banned since last week. Bennett was barred after he had shared data with two outside analysts indicating that Maricopa County's certified vote count was accurate. Now, that would be the vote count, of course, that showed that Joe Biden had won the election, had won the state, and therefore won the election. So now the first count by Cyber Ninjas, whose founder, Doug Logan, appeared in a film claiming that the 2020 election was rigged, reportedly ended up with a different number of ballots cast than that report. As the Arizona Republic reported, the data Bennett provided to the outside analysts, Larry Moore and Benny White, showed the results of the ongoing machine count of the ballots tracks very closely with the county's tally. The one that they were winning. Now, if that trend continues, it said, it may call into question the result of the Cyber Ninjas count, because Senate President Karen Fann had said that the Cyber Ninjas count did not match the counties. Fann was the person who appointed Bennett to oversee the audit. So we've got some mismatching numbers here, and potentially we might have an issue with quote-unquote Cyber Ninjas maybe cooking the books. Interesting. Bennett told James T. Harris, host of the Conservative Circus, an apt name, that he was concerned that all of a sudden there was talk about a third count to just verify the number of ballots that are here. A process he wanted to ensure was independent from Cyber Ninjas, the people who locked him out. So now he pointed out some issues with the ballot counting methods, which are interesting. I'm going to share that. According to Bennett, the problem with the company's ballot counting methods were apparent early on. In one such instance, Cyber Ninjas refused to give Bennett information about their ability to reconcile ballots that had to be duplicated, such as spoiled ballots or ballots from overseas military voters and the duplicates themselves. It seems like a problem. I asked the auditors, when we're done with the duplicates, please give me a comprehensive reconciliation of where we're able to identify one of these for every one of those. And that has not been forthcoming now for 2 months. Jesus. In another case, the audit's complex process for tallying votes, which involved 3 counters speed reading ballots from a lazy Susan, marking their totals, and sending them across the room to be reconciled and entered on a spreadsheet, led to confusion for Bennett. He suggested the figures added to the central database did not always match the tallies from those who had counted the ballots. There were serious issues in the aggregation spreadsheet when the tally sheets would be carried over to the end of the room and entered into the spreadsheet, he said. Fascinating. Bennett said that he had been told about improvements to address his concerns, but that workers later told him that they had been instructed not to share any of that information with Bennett, and that was, of course, shortly before he was locked out. Very curious. So you share some concerns. Hey, we could do this process a little bit better, maybe. And instead of addressing the concerns, they respond by kicking you out. No, that seems totally above board. What are you talking about? Crazy. It's not like they're trying to, set up even a situation where it might look like they're fudging the numbers and cooking the books. I'm not saying that that's what's happening, but I'm saying that how can you disprove that it isn't? This is a private corporation, a private contracting firm, headed up by somebody who has basically staked his reputation on proving that there was voter fraud that could possibly overturn the results of this election. So what incentive do they not have to play with these numbers? So now, again, what's interesting here about Bennett. Now, Bennett's a Republican. Well, of course, right? Majority Republican in Arizona. Now, up until last week, he was totally fine with what cyber ninjas were doing. Just 2 weeks ago, Bennett sat by as Logan falsely claimed that 74,000 mail-in votes had inexplicably never been mailed to voters. That was, of course, debunked by fact checkers. Nonetheless, that lie prevailed and even made its way up to Donald Trump, who's been repeating it ever since, including on Saturday's rally. And while Bennett and even Logan himself have backed down from that lie that the 74,000 ballots, about the 74,000 ballots, that is still being repeated by Trump, just last week Bennett denied that there was any confusion and inaccuracy in the audit and blamed this on, quote, media misinformation. All you hear from the Secretary of State's office in the mainstream media is that there's confusion and inaccuracy. Nothing could be further from the truth. Really? Really? And then just a week later, it's like, oh, so much inaccuracy. Wow. By the way, I just got kicked out. I don't know what to think, man. The grifters, are they turning on each other? I don't know. Is he mad that he got shut out from asking simple questions? Are they cooking the books? I got no idea. All I know 100% is that this has been an absolute shit show. Terrible. This disastrous farce has gone on long enough. Trump, look, I know you don't like, I know you don't want to hear it. I know. Trump lost. Shut the fuck up and move on. Please, for God's sakes, move on with your life. If you enjoyed this video, please give us a like and share with your friends. You can subscribe and help out the channel by becoming a patron. It's patreon.com/Jeff Waldorf, or you can become a channel member as well by hitting the join button below.